civil rights activist and the founder of the National Black Farmers Association. He operates the Boyd Farm, which is 1,500 acres across 3 farms in Baskerville, Virginia, where they grow soybeans, corn, wheat, and currently raises 150 herd of beef cattle. John Boyd Jr., thank you so much. Great to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to get your response to that. You know, our history, our shared history, of course, Mr. Boyd, is that our ancestors were brought to this country not to own farms, but to work on them as slave labor. And replacing that cheap labor, once it was wrestled away from the Confederacy and other farms across the country by the Civil War, there's been this sort of endless quest to replace that farm labor with cheap labor, right? And the cheap labor of note today is largely undocumented. And now what the agriculture secretary is saying is that they're going to swap that labor out for folks that get Medicaid. Your thought?
You know, they just take things to a whole different level here, you know? There's no way that those persons are going to do this kind of hard work. That's the first thing. Farming is the hardest occupation known to man. I just got off the tractor, and I'll be honest with that. I took a shower and changed my hat to come on the show with you, you know? And it's the hardest occupation known to man. It's hot outside today. It takes a special kind of individual to go out there and do this work day in and day out. And so if you think someone who's already has, I'm gonna use my grandmother's terminology, some sort of ailment, that you already have some difficulties, and you're gonna come out here and do farm work, picking tomatoes and everything else, it's not gonna work. The folks who are already here were the ones actually, doing the work in the first place. And first of all, to talk about what you spoke about, blacks are the ones that, made tobacco, gold, and cotton king here. So let's go back and tell the whole history. And once we stopped doing it for free, they had a problem paying us, and the whole issue with land. The way black people got land in this country is because the money wasn't spent in the South, the currency wasn't spent, and they had this states like Virginia and other had an opportunity to exchange the currency. They wouldn't do it, and they lost the money. And then they started selling land to blacks to stay on. That's how we got the land in the first place. And then after the 60s, they said, oh, okay, man, we want all this land back. And they used USDA and the county committee to get land back to steal land back legally. And my daddy would always say, they always use a legal way to outmaneuver black people in this country. So that's how they got rid of blacks in the first place. They didn't want to pay us, and black people say, you know what? I'm moving up south. I'm moving to Chicago and New York City, and I'm not doing this kind of work for free anymore. And then he brought the migrant workers in. And now they're saying they don't want them here. Anybody with some skin tone in this country, they don't want you here. But they are bringing white farmers from South Africa, providing them with a fast path to citizenship, and going to offer them homesteads and land out of federal inventory. The land that came from black people at USDA, if it's in inventory and it came from USDA, it came from black people, black farmers like myself. They're going to give that land to white farmers and provide them with a fast path to citizenship. But they say they don't want anything to do with race in this country. Or we want to do away with that. We don't want nothing to do with race. But they want to bring white farmers. I want to be real. I'm going to say it twice to your listeners understand what I'm saying. They want to bring white farmers in from South Africa that look like them and give them land and give them a fast path to citizenship. And anybody that has some skin tone and they classify them as immigrants, they're shipping them out of this country just as fast as they can.
And by the way, it sounds like they want to give, to your point, these African